I think we are supposed to be live. I will turn down the volume on here so that I can get things going. So I want to make some more boxes to use on my French cleat wall. So that is my first project of the day. So the first step is picking out the material. And I think I want to just stick with this stuff. So let's go find some more of that stuff. All right. So let's see. I think it's this stuff right here. Yeah. All right. That basically matches. So I think I want similar size to that, but maybe a little bit smaller. Those are 4 inches. So that's just under 16. Just over 29. So if I did 3 inches, I could get 5 segments out of here, just cutting off a little piece there. But is 3 inches going to be too small? So yeah, I think it probably would be too small. So I think I'll just stick with the 4 inches. And take it a segment from there. So let's get the table saw ready. Actually, before we do that, this was on my table saw. It's just a little box joint jig that I made. And I did some cleanup the other day, but I cleaned up the box joint jig by putting it on the table saw. Isn't particularly clean, but whatever. What I was thinking is I can just put a hole in it and then stick it on that dowel along with my my router sled, and so then it's out of the way, but easily accessible if and when I need it, and probably not going to get jostled and broken when I'm not needing it. So we just see about where to go on that. All right, so I'm just going to put a hole basically right there. And get some scrap to put underneath it here. Let's see, where's my dedicated drill into scrap? Oh, there's a piece that should work. That should work just fine. All right. Oh, looks like we've got some people in the chat here. Let's see. Ray and Sandy, Billy, thanks for joining us, everybody. Small Woodlot, Billy. Less than 75 subs. You're in the big boy club. Yeah, getting there, getting there. And let's see. Saving battery for the fireworks tonight. Catch y'all later. All right. See you, Small Woodlot. And Let's see. Okay. Awesome. All right. So I'm just going to put a hole right there. Let me see how big of a hole it needs to be. I don't remember how thick that dowel is. The dowel is about 1/3 of an inch. I wish this these calipers would switch between a decimal and like eighths or sixteenths or something, so it's just a little easier to calculate that. But whatever. All right, and get out drill bit and let's see. 3/8 should be big enough. All right, and right about there. Let's see if that works. And I think I'll get a little bit more clearance than that, because that is not enough. Which means I'll have to go to a different drill bit set. 3/8 is the largest in that one. Let's see if there's a 1/2 inch. That should work. You know what? I'm going to clamp this down a little so it doesn't I'm going to release that, so bring this over a little so that when I clamp it down, it doesn't crack the thing. There we go. And I'll do it on the other side too, just in case. There we go. Okay. See if that's big enough to go through now. Works. All right. So now that I've done that little bit of cleanup, let's see. All right. We've got Lawrence. Hey, how's it going, man? And let's see. We'll clean up, put stuff away here. I'm not a big fan of this design on this case, because it's like, why couldn't they just make that so it'd be flush with the rest of it? Why does it have to stick out? Is there some reason that they do it that way? I mean, this folds back is fine, but wouldn't it be better if this didn't stick out? easier to stack, easier to whatever. I mean, maybe there's some proprietary DeWalt stacking system. Maybe that's what's going on. So they're intending, yeah, because I feel a little bit of a lip here. So they're probably intending for me to buy a whole lot more DeWalt and then stack these all together. Is that what they're doing? The jerks. All right, then I'll just throw on some ear protection here. And all right, and now let's make our way to the table saw. Oh. Just fixed this the other night live. If any of you are aching to see how that was done, you can check out the live from a few nights ago. Right. Plug that in. Right. Not going to need the crosscut sled for a bit. And so let's go to 3.5 inches. Lock that in. And I'll use the Grabber Pro. And okay. All right, I'm going to adjust this a little bit. There we go. Actually, I'm going to adjust that more so that this guy is firmly, firmly not going to hit the blade as I push him through. All right. So now, would I rather have this segment or this segment? And I think I'm going to go with this one. Now, hold on to this. I'm going to put the rest of that material away. And bring back the crosscut sled. Let's see. All right. And wonder if, I'm going to bring him over here because I'm not going to be able to get everything over there. So let me, I'm going to cut these a little bit oversized and then be able to use this guy over here. Let's see. Hey, Mike. Thanks for joining us. Rodrigo. Thanks, man. Let's see. Who else we got here? Yeah, everyone join in the shop, join in the chat. Tell me where you're from, what your Independence Day plans are. Billy wants to know where Mrs. Pilado is. She is upstairs resting. She's not feeling great today, so I decided to come in here and make a lot of noise instead. All right, let me grab this, and all right. So that is about 3 5/8. I'll just cut out those segments. I need 5 of them. And now I'm going to go just a touch under 3.5, so I can just take off a sliver of what we had before, and then I'll just square these up. See that little offcut? Kind of bounced up off of the blade. Wasn't expecting that. So now I should have these all be square, and that's about what I wanted. So we'll move on to our next step, which is the router table. Hey there. And let's see. Let's put the router table on the workbench. I've got my camera mounted on another router table here. Got a video about making that. But I'm not going to use this router table because I've already got a multi-round over bit in there, and I'm going for a chamfer bit, which is already mounted in this router table. So one of the nice things about having multiple routers and or multiple router tables is not having to switch out the router bits. All right, let me see if I can maneuver this in such a way that you can see what's going on. All right, get those out of the way. And let me check up on chat, see what I'm missing out on here. Yeah, upstairs resting. Yep. Let me see here. Let's see. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. We're finally able to free ourselves from that tyrant, King George. All right. Rodrigo, watching from Brazil. Sweet. And Mike says he needs to make a crosscut sled. I do have a video on how I made mine if you want any inspiration, Mike, or maybe just, what not to do. And let's see, table saw so old it doesn't have a riving knife. Yeah, I've before I bought this one, I considered some older ones that also didn't have riving knives, but eventually I just went with this one. No big plans, Billy. Just hanging out in North Carolina. John, hello. And yeah, it's good to get some rest. Hey, Nikki, thanks for joining us. And let's see. All right, router table for every occasion. Exactly, Mike. I just need like 3 or 4 more. I only have the 2 right now. And yeah, plywood. Knew a farmer had a tractor for each tool. Yeah, that way you never have to switch out the tools on it, right? And you've never used a saw with a riving knife, Mike? All right, that's one way to do it. Just have to be a little bit more careful than the average bear, I guess. And get the power through here. Actually, I'm not going to plug it in yet. All right, so let me find my work pieces. I mean, this is really thin material. That's part of why I like it, because very little of the material is going to be taking up the interior space of the box. So the idea here is that I'm going to use the chamfer bit to create a miter rather than trying to do the miter on the table saw. Especially with a miter this small, I figure my table saw is not precise enough to really dial that in. So, all right. So let me see what. Let me see where I need to have this positioned. I'm gonna. All right, so I need my router bit to be a little bit higher. And all right, I want to lock the fence in so it's the same in the same plane as the bearing here. All right. Okay. And then I can properly determine how high I need that to be. Okay, going the wrong direction. That's why it kept getting worse. All right, so I think that should work, but I guess we'll find out. Hey, Kevin, thanks for joining us in today. Happy Independence Day. And all right, so I'll plug this guy in. And I think I might have accidentally pushed the, there we go. All right, so I want to do a chamfer on 3 sides of 4 of them and 4 sides of 1 of them. So we'll have basically a box like that, right? So on the top side, exactly like that. So the 4 sides, I don't want chamfers on the top, and then on the bottom piece, I want chamfers all the way around. So let me see how I want these laid out. Normally, I would think to go with the grain side to side like that, and then maybe have this guy on the bottom. However, on the other boxes, I've got the grain going up and down. So maybe for consistency's sake, I'll do the same on these. Have the grain going up and down. And then, yeah. So this would be the unchamfered side. I would chamfer all the sides of this guy. And, all right, so stack these up like this. I know to go 1, 2, 3, and done. So, all right. And let's see. Mike, working on cleaning your garage? Yeah, I had a little cleanup time the other night. So my workbench is a lot. You can actually see the workbench now, whereas before not as much. So there's let's see. Wait, what show are you talking about? On you used to watch a router show on. Oh, I heard about that. I don't think I ever watched it though. Look it up. Didn't see a router show. Okay, a father-son team. Fast dry and epoxy works. You have a magnet, collapsible box. Yeah, true. All right, let's see how this works. I don't like how that's working. That's tearing a bit. It's pulling it way too much for my taste. I don't really want my fingers in there, and it's not giving me as smooth a cut there as I want. So I don't know if you can see how it's not how I want it. So maybe I will try a different method. Maybe I should just use the table saw for my miters, or maybe because this was saying just use some epoxy and, or magnets. I do have a magnet over on this little crappy box. This is the first one I used, or first one I made, and I've just got the little magnet on there for my sharpener. But this is the one that clued me in that I had a gouge on my table saw fence that was causing issues. So yeah, not the greatest box, but whatever. All right. So what do you guys think? Should I do something different and try still using the router with the chamfer bit, or try something different? What are your ideas here? Use magnets quite often. Yeah, magnets can be really good. Yeah, and that seemed to be digging in too right there as I was getting over to the other side of the fence. So I think my fence isn't quite aligned how it needs to be. It might be a little bit more over here than over there. Let's see. You know what, I'm going to try that and just see if that gets me where I need to be. Okay. You missed what happened, Kevin? Yeah. I just started cutting this one and it wasn't cutting how I wanted. So I've adjusted the fence a little bit and I'm going to see if that does better. But we'll see. Yeah, that's just taken off too much. I mean, it's not taking off very much, but for this size of piece, it's not worth trying. So I'm done with that. All right, change of plans. Let's try the table saw. Which means don't need the the crosscut sled, but I will need a different throw plate. All right, so the 90-degree, potato, the old 90-degree, the blank for later, and the 45. Let me just see. I modified the table saw a little while back. I don't know if you can see down below here. I shot some video on it, but haven't actually produced the video yet. But I used to have just PVC going all the way down. So this is a PVC elbow joint. And then I had PVC going down and connecting up with my cyclone separator, which connects to my shop vac. But I found that whenever I switched it between the 90-degree and the 45-degree, that it would disconnect because it wasn't really intended for that. So now I've switched it out. So I've got instead of PVC all the way down, now I've got some flexible hose, which is kind of hidden because of my makeshift adapter using an old sparkling water bottle. So it's a little bit tight to get it into place, but let me see if I've actually gotten it into place here. I'm not very confident in the flatness of my table saw. That's part of why I was thinking to do this on the router instead of the table saw. So there we go. All right, so that's zeroed out. And all right, there we go. I think I need to adjust the stop on that so it's a little easier to get to the 45. And lower that down so I can get my throat plate on there. Okay. All right, should be plenty. What I should do really is make a crosscut sled that can do the miter cut, and that way I'm much more comfortable with it to be flat whereas this guy is just not. All right, so let's try that. And okay, do I have a smaller bit? I may have a smaller chamfer bit, but yeah, I've already moved on. So don't put it on the teeth of the blade. They always move. What am I up to now? Just trying to make a little box, Kevin. So I've got some of these little boxes for my French cleat wall. So just trying to make some more, or at least one more. I want to house some little brushes in a box. So I figured I'd make one. All right. And okay. And don't have the nerve to do that with such a small project. Yeah. Big compared to some other cuts. All right. So I will. So we can do with that. This one is probably not salvageable, so I might have to make a new cut or a new piece. So good thing I've got some spare material there. But let's see. Let's see if it'll work. Okay. On that first cut, my miter is going pretty much all the way to the edge. But it looks like over here, it's not quite all the way. So I've got a little bit of a lip there. And on this side, looks like it went all the way. So it might just be that when I remove some material on this side, it's making it so it's not quite as long on the other side. So let's see. Let's try it. I've got more material if I need to, right? All right, I think that one worked a lot better. So going pretty much right to the edge on all three of those. So that should work. So we'll just keep going with the other ones here. Actually, going over it again, I think you might have actually cut it better. Oh wait, this is yeah, but I've got my issue here with it being not that great. So I think I'm just going to convert this into the bottom piece. So then that joint won't be as noticeable. So I've got to miter the other side here. All right, so let's see if we can dry fit these. Who's excited for the dry fit? All right. And just find some tape. I should have some painter's tape that's already opened. It's not just the 1 inch or whatever, but don't see any. So I guess I'll open up a new roll. All right. Okay. If there's any. All right. Hey, I managed to get them all. Have the grain go in all the same direction. That's amazing. All right. Hey, that looks like it might come together nicely. And that should work for my purposes. All right. Just trying to lock these in so that they're on the same plane. Okay. And I'm just using Type Bond Original because this is just in the shop and shouldn't be exposed to any water really. If it is, then I've got some bigger problems. Aren't glue ups fun? And I've been told that the bristles from the brush help to strengthen it, help to strengthen the joint, just like rebar. That's why I left it in there. All right. You know what? I should have put some glue on the other joint here first. That's not how I wanted it. All right. And since I don't want the piece to stick to the tape, I think that might actually end up looking somewhat clean. All right. And which should be the top, which should be the bottom? Well, this has to be the bottom because that's where the miter cuts are. I am brilliant. All right. I'm going to go really light. Except for right in here where I need more glue. Well, looks like my bottom isn't going to be as clean as the rest of it, but you know what, our bottoms usually aren't as clean as the rest of us. So we'll just have to work. And then that should help to square up the box. All right. So it's on its way. You know, a little messy in there. And you can kind of see right in there that, you know, there's a bit of a gap, or maybe you can't. I don't know. So, all right. So we'll let that set for a little bit and move on to our next project. After I check in on the chat. And take off my PPE because it's getting kind of warm in here and I'd rather not have those on unnecessarily. All right, so I'll just set that over here for now. And all right, let's see what we've got. Um, do, all right. And okay. Send it, yeah. Need to make some better push sticks. Yeah, I just made this one the other day. Modified it because I had another piece here that wasn't quite as thin, but it had some knots in it, and I was like, I'd rather just use something else. And then I also just kind of angled this because before I just had it straight up and down, you know, at a 90 degree to this. I thought that'd give me a little bit better control. Then I just cut it with the bandsaw right there and removed a sliver. And I didn't want to use any metal, so no screws or anything. And you know, as this gets beat up, I can, you know, just take out another sliver and you know, just kind of work my way up on the push stick. So that was kind of my thought process on that. And then when this is all used up, I can take my handle and put it on another piece of scrap and start over. So that's about the entirety of my thought process on that. Let's see. Yeah, 43 haven't subscribed. Hey, yeah, what are you waiting for? Subscribe, everybody. Channel is awesome. Are we back? Sorry if I lost everybody. Are we back? Can you see me? Not kaput? Does that mean you can see me? Yeah, I see you. Oh, good. I'm back. All right. Looks like my phone was overheating a little bit, so I just unplugged it from the power source. We'll see if that cools it down. So, all right. In the meantime, let's see. We had some other stuff here. I'm not sure when I went kaput earlier. So let me get back to, all right. Looks material, copyright strike. Yeah, I didn't sing very much of it, so I think we're okay. Norm, thanks for joining us. Kevin and Sandy. Okay. Oh, got around to ordering your catalog from the Consumer Information Center. Okay, I'm not sure why you needed the catalog, Mike, but I'm happy for you. Or sorry that happened, whichever works better. All right. And gonna do a magic trick. Okay. Anything else I need to address here? And Kevin's got to go. Hope you're feeling well, Kevin. Hey, Raja. Thanks for joining us. And what do we have? I see someone mentioning Bear and the Boss Lady. Are you right? Is Bear in here? I didn't see a post, but welcome if you are. And okay. All right, so then we got our bad connection issue. And okay. All right, so I'm back online, I think. All right, turn down the brightness, that keeps it cooler. Ooh, good idea. Let me see if it'll let me adjust that midstream here. Okay. All right. Yeah, I hadn't had that issue with the phone overheating, except on a live when I was burning out a willow stump in the backyard, and I was trying to get the camera a little too close to the fire, and I did it multiple times. And so what I did to help was came over to my freezer and got a couple of ice packs. And then sandwiched the phone in the ice packs. And then that helped cool it down quickly so I could get back up and running. But I'll just put this ice pack on the backside for a minute, and hopefully that gives us plenty of cool down so that we don't have any overheating issues. I guess being 90 plus degrees outside means it's pretty warm inside. So try to keep that in mind. All right. All right. Yeah, turn this. All right. So the brightness is turned down, so that should help. And sharpened up somehow. Cool. All right. Yeah, I've got it working. You dropped your wrench. Shame on you. Okay. Hope you can pick it up, Mike. Hope you can pick it up. All right. All right. So the next project I was thinking to work on is modifying the table saw a little bit, because let me give you a look at this little cabinet that I have my router table made on. So this cabinet used to have some little tiny wheels that were not that easy to work with, and didn't have brakes on them, which was a problem because when I first got this cabinet, it had a table saw on it. And so, as you can imagine, a table saw with wheels and no brakes, not the greatest idea when you're trying to push some sheet goods through, which is what I tried to do the first time I used it, which was not that smart. And so I ended up shutting off the table saw midway through. But anyway, so I've switched out with some bigger wheels that also have brakes on them. And what that did is make it so that my height here is more than my table saw. And the reason that's a problem is because I used to use this as an outfeed table. And so as a solution, I'm thinking to Just measure here, figure out what my differential is, and then make something a little bit higher and stick it in between the foot and the deal here. So I'll loosen up my bolts, and hopefully I've got enough bolt capacity to be able to do that. So yeah. So anyway, that's the next project I'm thinking to work on today. So I think my first step is just figuring out what is the difference between these two. And just use this guy. Lock that in. And that much difference. Let's see if it's consistent on the other side. And looks like it's a little more on the other side, which is good to know. Since this is more the outfeed side. All right. So about 7/8 on that side. So I think I might just go a full inch. So I've got a little bit of, about 1/8 of an inch drop going from the table saw to the outfeed table slash router table. So what do you guys think? 1/8 of an inch, too much, too little? Let's see. All right. So fix it, Felix. Elegant solution. Yeah. All right. We got Happy in the house. Sweet. CNG, how's it going? And anyway, so I'm hoping that will be relatively easy to do. And I think the most difficult part might be, okay, I see an issue with my idea so far, and that is that my bolts don't come up high enough. So right now I've got those bolt heads, and they are connected to that down below. Sorry if it's a little wonky on the view there. In the front, I couldn't do that. So on the bottom side, I've got one of these spiky nuts, basically. Spiky nuts. All right. So that obviously doesn't want to go any higher than the bottom of that, the bottom of the 2x3. So what I could do is take my Forstner bit and hollow out a little bit of the 2x3, so I've got more space for that to go up higher, and then it would lock in higher up. And then I've got a similar issue on the front. I'm not using these on the front. I've got just regular nuts, and I've got it coming up from the bottom. I've got the bolt coming up from the bottom and then the nut on the top. I think because I don't remember why, but there was an issue with using these on the front. So I might need to do something similar on the front, just come up a little bit on the with a Forstner bit, and give myself more room for that to work. I'm open to any other ideas if you have them. So before I start Forstnering out my stuff here. So now the other thing would be just get longer bolts, but I'm not sure that I've got anything longer. Maybe I already do. But I've got some stuff in here. This is probably the same length. Nope. But it's, let's see what I've got. These guys are long, right? Are they long enough? Ooh. Maybe I just switched them out with these bolts. Yeah, because I got a bunch of these bolts intending to use them for the miter saw station that I have not yet rebuilt. So maybe I end up just using these guys instead. Let's see. You have any suggestions here? Can I add my spacer between the wheels and the base? Yeah, probably. I probably could. Let me empty the stuff off of the bottom here. Let's see if that's easier to do. All right, and I'll leave the, actually, I think I'll unplug the table saw. All right. So, turn it around this way. And then I'll just lock those wheels. And tip it over. And yeah, I mean, I could just throw on some plywood. Not the person plywood, but the material plywood. And see if that works. All right. So maybe before I push that down, maybe I should have cut out some plywood. But all right, let me just measure. So 3.5 by 2 3/4, basically. Just call it 3.5 by 3. And just try to move it around with the brakes engaged. All right. Oh, I better set that back to 90 degree before I try putting the crosscut sled on. All right, and I'll put on the crosscut sled, and I'll measure the 90 off of the crosscut sled rather than off of the table saw surface, because I'm more confident in the flatness of my MDF crosscut sled than I am of the flatness of my table saw surface. right. Go a little higher here. Now, so actually, I'll just take that off now that I've locked in my 0. I wish this had a little bit better system for adjusting the bevel. Something that could more easily do micro adjustments, because if you've got it really close, it'd be nice to just, adjust the dial a little bit rather than have to, pull the lock off, redo it, push it back in. Because every time I engage the lock, the bevel lock, it moves it a little bit, right? So have to be you have to be cognizant of that. All right. So I'm going to go 3-inch. By 3.5-inch, I think is what we determined. And I'll just use some scrap plywood. And so I'm actually going to start off without the sled. And which means I need my 90-degree throat plate again. All right, and take this down to 3.5. Get some PPE. And all right. Hey, Garuda, thanks for joining us. Tim Liz, thanks for being here. All right. And I don't think that needs to be quite that high. All right. Here we go. It actually helps if I plug it in first. Makes it easier to do the cuts anyway. All right. I was hoping to get another 3.5 inches out of that, but it's not going to work. But maybe I could get 3. And then just do 3.5 by 3. Hopefully that's enough material to work. Just salvaged this plywood from an old shipping container. So basically free. All right, now that I've got those, should be able to use the crosscut sled now. All right, and I really should have put tape on this side too, so that I can just measure without having to get out a tape or a ruler or anything. But I didn't. Maybe someday. All right, so I'll start with 3.5. And yeah, that should work. Okay, so I'll cut this guy into 3.5 segments, and then I'll switch it to 3 and cut this guy up. Let's see if, all right. Strangely, it needs to be a little bit higher up when I'm using the crosscut sled versus when I'm just going directly on the table saw. Who would have thought that? All right. So it gives me 6. And those two together should be more than I need. Yeah, that's 1.25 inch. So do I want a 1/2 inch drop between my table saw and my outfeed support? Or just one of them is not going to be enough. 2 of them is going to be a 1/2 inch of difference. What do you guys think? Is that too much? Too little? And all right. Then adjust this guy to 3.5 inches. Or actually to 3. I was already doing the 3.5. I guess I could just take my other pieces and turn them and have referential measurements instead of trying to rely on on a ruler, even if it's a really good ruler. All right. So all right, so that gives me 8 pieces. So 2 per wheel, and only a little bit of burn mark. And then I can save that guy for another project some other day. All right. Take these guys off for a minute. Catch up on the chat here. Let's see. And all right. Ooh, happy thinking about doing some fishing tomorrow. Okay. TNG, you got a Bauer bandsaw. Haven't put it together. All right. You could just keep watching while you do that. See, we got I'm happy. And all right. Hey, hey, Pine. Good to see you. Hope everyone's having a good 4th too. Hey, Carrie. Thanks for joining us. And nice day. Yeah, it's not too terrible. All right. So, no opinions on whether this is too much. So, I'm just going to move forward with it until I hear otherwise from whoever. And all right, unplug the table saw again. And I'll move you all over here. I'm thinking to laminate these together, I think is the terminology. So grab some glue and yeah, it's pretty much dried. We'll still make it work. Not sure which of these sides is the worst one to just do that. So it's all right. I'm not worried about having great glue coverage here. Just want something to hold these things together a little bit. Okay. All right, and I'm going to turn on the air compressor. All right, and this is up to 120 psi. All right. All right. So hopefully those nails aren't right where I need to screw these things in, but deal with it. All right. Now I'm going to flop the table saw back over. All right, let's see, which side did we lock the wheels? The other side, of course. So take the crosscut sled off and lower the blade, because that could be bad. All right. All right. And we've got Phillips screwdriver. Those is what's already on the impact driver. So lucky me. All right. And one more to go. All right. Okay. I'm going to mark these. So I've got an issue here because the way I put this together was maybe not the best, but I've got screws coming from here into there and from there into there. And so when I put my screws into here through the plywood, I want to make sure not to hit the stuff that's already there. So I think I'm going to try to angle it so pretty close to where those were actually. So if I go, yeah, I'll just do that. So all right, let me find my piece that I can screw into here, and let's see what screws do I want to use. Are those enough? And maybe if I countersink a little bit, those should be fine. So rather than use up some nice new screws, reduce, reuse, recycle, right? But mostly I'm just cheap. All right, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Need 2 more. That's too small. 1, 2, 3. All right, and are those all Phillips, or do I need to switch bits periodically? Let's see. And Phillips, Phillips, Phillips. That one's actually smaller. Phillips, 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 Phillips. Okay, I need one more. Here we go. All right. I guess it works better if I look at the actual workpiece that I'm needed to drill through instead of the piece that I'm going to be cutting through. All right. And let's see how far in I need to go. About to there. All right. And okay. All right. So get out the drill and the drill bits. All right, I'm going to use these guys. And that should work. All right, so got those countersunk down in, so I should have plenty of grab on the bottom side. Looks like I went straight through on all of them. Oh wait, no, some of these were already there, I think. So it's just those three. No, that's not too bad. Pretty uniform. All right. Can you guys even see what I'm doing over here? Let me move you closer here. There we go. All right, so that, yeah, so first one down, on to the next. All right. And so my screws won't go in all the way. They won't go through. So I'm actually going to drill out from the other side so that these go in cleanly, so that I'm not grabbing onto the plywood when I run it through. I won't go nearly as deep. And that should, yep, allows the screw to go all the way through. so that I'm only gripping on the wood on the other side instead of gripping on the plywood. All right. Okay. So that should give me plenty of strength on those. And I'm going to move over here. And let me just check in on the chat. All right. See what I've missed, if anything critical. Everyone who's watching, if you haven't already, let me know where you're watching from. And okay. All right. Patricia, Brendan, Buster, do I have a water separator hooked to those? I'm not sure what you mean by a water separator. Okay. And okay, Happy's got to go. Enjoy the holiday. Thanks for coming, Happy. Probably already gone now, but thanks anyway. Let's see. Huh. Yeah, Game George. I'm not exactly sure what artillery weapons you're talking about, but I'm guessing I'm not going to be able to figure it out either way. So, all right. CNG's back. Supper time. All right. Oh, yeah, baby kisses from Wisconsin, CNG in South Georgia. So we've got a few people from Georgia that join us regularly. Pine and Oak used to be from Georgia, but moved to Tennessee. I got Wes is doing things, I think. Is that? No, Wes does it, I think. Wes, is that the name of your channel? I'm not sure if you're on right now, but all right. So we'll just connect those guys in, kind of like that. And then hopefully I made these big enough that we can connect those afterwards, like that. So first things first, got to get these things on. So get the old impact driver and some screws. My wife loves the impact driver. She loves hearing the impact driver when she's trying to rest. All right, feels pretty secure. Next, try and preload these screws over here. Let's try and make it flush on all sides. All right. On to the next. All right. All right. And last one. All right. Well, this is going to bother some people. Some of the OCD people are not going to like that this one is angled the other direction from the others. Sorry about that. Not really that sorry, but is that a smaller screw? All right. Those all feel secure. And yeah, check in on our chat here. Let's see. South Georgia air separator, air dryer. Are you talking about the air compressor? Or the wood dryer? Okay, gotcha. The kiln. So I've got a dehumidifier in there that hasn't been working as well as it used to, but oh well. C&G would like to move to Tennessee. Been talking to Pine and Oak about that. Tim List is in Southwest Ohio in his garage, whittling a spoon out of aspen. Sweet. Yep, Southwest Ohio. Talking about the lines to the kiln. Okay. Yeah, I've got the drainage hose for the kiln. Maybe that's what you're talking about, but and oh yeah, you're ready. Did you hang that up? Not yet. Cool looking sign, dude. I saw that. I didn't catch your live, but I watched the video after the fact. And okay, is that a flip cart or just saw on top with dust collector? Yeah, just the saw on top with the dust collector. So yeah, that's what it looks like right now when it's on its side. But yeah, no flip top. I thought about doing some flip top tools, but decided against it because I don't want to have to flip the tools over and such. Like if I'm using one tool and then I'm like, oh, you know what? I really need to use the other tool now. I got to flip it over and then potentially flip it back. And it's like, I'd rather just have the tools up where I need them and not have to worry about whether I need to flip them or not. So right now I've got a few different things that I'm storing under the workbench, like my secondary router table and planer, scroll saw, jointer. I'm thinking that I want to do a mobile cart that contains both the planer and the jointer that are down there. I figure whenever I'm using the jointer, probably I'll also need the planer. So I don't want to have a flip system with that. And then I can hook both of those up to the dust extractor that's over there that I still have never used because of the still don't have the hose, because why would I order some hose, right? But I can use the dust extractor on that cart and have it just dedicated to the planer jointer cart, and then free up some space down there, and more importantly, not have to pull them both out and put them back away whenever I want to use them. So eventually, that'll be a project to make the mobile cart for the planer and jointer. And let's see. And yeah, Ray, when you do get that sign put up, let us know about it. And on top of the router table, the camera right now is on top of the router table. So right there. So it functions as a router table, as an outfeed table, as a camera stand, camera platform, whatever. So, all right. And yeah, so the table saw is turned over right now. Still need to seal your sign, okay? And yesterday was busy, cool. Southwest Ohio, okay. Mike Stanifer is back, hooray! We can start going again. You need to figure out a dust collector for your chainsaw. That's awesome. Scraps, yep. Good luck with that woodchucker. Yeah, good call, CNG. All right, so let's put these guys on, and of course my screws now need to be pretty much where I just screwed in. So I'm gonna pre-drill on these, because the screws that I was using are thicker and such. So I don't want to tear everything out. All right. Maybe I should show you how I'm marking things up here. Now that I've got half of them done, and all right, we'll see how well that does. Okay, so on we go to find it that will work. Let's just use this same bit and I'll just adjust it a little here. All right, should be enough. All right, so get the drill back out. All right. Not sure why I'm doing all 4 holes since I only have only have enough screws for 3. Oh. Guess I could try to find more. Try to find more screws and washers, but why bother? All right. So often on these jobs, rather than going out and getting the hardware that is precisely the right fit, usually I just see what I've got that'll work. So if it'll do the job, then great. I don't have to spend any more money. I may be a little bit cheap. Possible. All right. On to the next. Right. On to the next. And okay. And I only have 2 screws, but 3 washers here. Is it because I needed 2 washers on one of them? Or is it because I lost a screw? All right, let me see if I've got. Whoa, didn't lose the screw. I just didn't bring it with me over here. Left it on the workbench. All right. So that should be all the screws that I need. Should be nice and secure. Let's see. And all right, 5-gallon bucket with a big funnel, 3 feet behind. You'd surprised how much you catch. Yeah. Especially if you set in a box to bounce back. Yeah. Make a tin box to attach your saw, the hose on it. JB Weld. Yeah. Not out there. All right, Tim. Tim List Creations. Thanks for joining us. Attaching the wheels. Do I have a stop on them? Do you mean brakes? I've got brakes here. Is that what you're talking about? Or a different kind of stop? And any ghosts spotted on stream? Not that I'm aware of, Guy. Mike Stanford, got your lathe cleaned off, started working on the bowl, and chucked up since you messed up your knee. Cool. Love to see the progress on that. A little short cabinet by your bed. Need to add rollers on. Wasn't quite sure how. Now I know. Full of paints. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's one way to do it, right? You can get like I just got these from Harbor Freight, but I mean you can get wheels from a big box store or Harbor Freight or wherever, and then if they don't match up exactly with what you need to screw it into, you can just make a little platform like that. You know, a little plywood, something that will screw into where you need it to, and then screw the casters onto that. So, okay. All right, Pine, gonna be back, or you are back. Awesome. Thanks for being back, dude. You made your husband sit down to hold the wood. Sweet. Made a flag. That kind. Okay, perfect. Grandkids are here now. Guess you're done. All right. Hey, have a great evening. You got scraps. Perfect. You're done in the garage. All right. All right. So, moment of truth. Let's lift this guy back up. All right. Huh. Seems taller now for some reason. Weird. All right. And let me take the brakes off and reposition the shop vac that's still leaning down. All right. And position it for outfeed. And that seems blurry to me. Let me see if I can get a better angle from the other side here. Can you tell that there's a gap there? So I think that should work. And if it doesn't work, then I'm blaming all of you, especially those of you who haven't subscribed yet. So hurry up and subscribe, work up the nerve. Subscribe, like the channel and the feed and all the stuff. So let's see. All right. Let's see if there are any other questions here. Perfect. That should work. Yep. Half inch or so. Yep. Yeah, I'm hoping that does well, because that will be nice to not have to worry about outfeed going forward. So my initial plan in building this was actually to make a folding outfeed support. That's why I have this further out than just the support here. Got that. I wanted a little bit of space for the dust collection to go through, and then I was planning to use this to build up some folding outfeed support. But once I took care of that, I had this cabinet that had been used for an old table saw, and I just put a piece of plywood on top, and it worked really well as outfeed. So I was like, oh, I don't really need to worry about the folding outfeed support. And so I put that kind of on a back burner of projects to do. And yeah, then I converted this to a router table and put the wheels on it that raise it up. I'm like, this doesn't work as an outfeed support anymore. But now it's back to working as an outfeed support. So maybe I won't worry about the folding outfeed support on the table saw. Or maybe I will at some point. We'll see. Let's see. what else? What else do we have to discuss before we call it a night? That should work great. Yep, half inch. Yep. Have to try to get your wife out there again. Yeah. Doesn't roll if you don't. If you don't, you want it to. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't roll if I don't want it to, right? So if I'm with my braking casters on both the router table / outfeed support and my table saw, I can lock it in. There's still a little bit of movement, but for most things, it's still just fine. And it'll, once you kind of get it to where it's moved a little bit, it's usually fine after that. So I'm not too worried about it. And yeah, I would like to get my wife out here some more. She's a lot of fun, but she's also somewhat sick. So those of you who watched our, I had a video back in February, right before Valentine's Day. I think it was titled Hugs and Kisses and Hearts and Kidneys, in which I shared that she's actually in kidney failure right now. So she recently got listed for kidney transplant, and we're having a couple of potential donors screened for living donation. And so should know within the next week or so whether that will work with either of the potential donors that they're screening right now. And we're hopeful. But if that doesn't work, then we've got to either find more donors or wait on a deceased donor kidney list, which is generally a 3 to 5 year wait. So we're hoping to not have to worry about that. But when she's feeling well, she's a lot of fun. And when she's not feeling well, she's not making it out to the shop. So anyway, I'm glad that you all enjoyed having her out here. I sure did. It's a lot of fun when she's feeling well. Let's see. How has she been feeling? Yeah, so I mean, it's day to day. Some days she feels great, other days not as much. When she came in and we did our little competition. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I've got her sign displayed up here. So we were supposed to both make signs saying Smith, and she did not obey the rules. So sometimes she does break the rules. You know what I mean? So, anyway, so I've got it displayed right there with the Pilato sign that she made for me. So all of the signs that she makes for me, I think I'll just accumulate there in the corner. But yeah, let's see. Oh, thanks, Norm. Appreciate it. She's a blast. You're very kind to her. Well, sometimes I'm kind, sometimes not as much. Let's see. And yeah, I've been praying for her. I think appreciate it. We appreciate all the prayers and well wishes, and just in case our potential donors aren't going to work out. Anyone who's willing, you can go to melindakidneytransplant.com, I believe. Let me look that up real quick. And melindakidneytransplant.com. Yeah, and I'll put this in the chat for those who want. And you can use that link to go to the page. So she's set up for transplant at Indiana University in Indianapolis. And so if the two potential donors don't work out, if anyone's willing or knows of someone who's willing to donate a kidney and it happens to be O positive blood type, have them go to that website and sign in to be potential donors. They will screen whoever as to make sure that they're healthy enough to donate. And so that's the first screening is, are you healthy enough to donate? You have to be an adult. The various transplant centers have different requirements. Some of them you have to be just 18. Some of them require you to be 21 years old. Most of them have a cutoff as far as age, so they won't let you donate if you're over like 80 or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the age was. But then they also want people that are like really healthy, right? Because for a couple of reasons. Number one, the kidney that they take and give to the recipient, they want to make sure that it's in good shape, right? That it's going to have a good result. But they also want to make sure that whoever is going without that kidney is going to be able to survive with just the one kidney. And so they have some pretty in-depth screening to make sure that you can qualify as a donor. And the screening is no cost to the donor or to the potential donor. It's paid for by the insurance of the transplant recipient. So you don't have to worry about, it's like, oh, is this going to cost me a lot or whatever? It's like, no, it's it shouldn't cost you anything in dollars. It will cost you something in kidneys, but it's just an amazing gift. So if anyone is willing or knows someone who's willing, go ahead and sign up there, and we can move forward. But hopefully we don't need it. She's got a couple of people, and they won't screen any more than 2 at a time. So she's got 2 people that are being screened right now, and hopefully one or more of them is a great match for her. One of them is actually her sister, and so there's a good chance of her being a really good match. But sometimes siblings are not the best matches. So we're just hoping to make sure we've got all of our bases covered and have backups and all of that. And let's see. And yeah, she's got her piece of the shop. Yep. You would. Yeah. It's funny. We did a big Zoom meeting with her siblings and parent and her dad, and then a separate Zoom meeting with my siblings and my mom. And we both come from relatively big families. My wife has 5 siblings and I have 8 siblings. But anyway, so after the Zoom call with my family, my mom afterwards was like, oh, can I donate my kidney? And I'm like, Mom, I don't know that your kidney is the one that she's looking for. So, and she's the wrong blood type and all sorts of other issues too. But it was so sweet that she was wanting to donate the kidney, but like, what, Mom, just keep your kidneys. You need them. So, all right. A positive. A positive can donate blood, but I'm not sure your question there, Mike. So there's actually a system so that even if you're not O positive, like she is, you could kind of donate to her. They call it paired exchange. And I explained this, I think, a little bit on that video that I referenced earlier. But I can give you a little bit more in-depth now because I don't have the constraints of trying to cram things into a video that can keep people's attention. Although, to be fair, that video didn't really keep many people's attention because it didn't really get that many views, I don't think. So didn't do nearly as well as I was hoping. But so paired exchange, basically, if I have a donor, if I need a transplant and I have a donor that comes in and is qualified to donate but doesn't match me, I can have that person submit to this paired exchange system. They can match with someone else in the system who needs a kidney that they match with, and then that person brings their donor who matches with me, and we basically have a kidney swap. So they call that a paired exchange. So that's a possibility, but the surgical team at Indiana, because my wife has some, she's a little bit more complicated than most. She's already had a 5-organ transplant about 2 almost 10 years ago. They replaced her stomach, liver, pancreas, small intestine, and colon. And they call it a multivisceral transplant. And so she's a little bit more complicated than the average kidney transplant patient. And so the surgical team wanted to just do a direct transplant rather than having to coordinate a paired exchange. So we're hoping that we can get somebody that matches her actually, rather than just someone who can donate and then going through the paired exchange system. So let's see. Not sure if that answers your question, Mike, but there are churches that take prayer list, put a note in there. Yep, we've been doing that. You have one enlarged kidney. Okay. Beautiful family. Oh, that's sweet of you, Pine. Working at Emory or Piedmont in Atlanta, great transplant hospitals. Cousin. Yep. Yeah. So part of the issue, we actually, you can be listed at more than one center concurrently. And we are actually pursuing getting listed at other centers, just in case she can't do a living donation, because then she'd be on the deceased donor list for multiple centers. And so hopefully it would be faster to get a kidney. We tried a couple of centers that are closer to us, because we're in Idaho, and so we tried. There are no transplant centers in Idaho, so the nearest ones are probably in Salt Lake. And so we tried going through a hospital there that had pretty good record as far as their results. And so we got evaluated there, and they said, hey, you know what? You're complicated. We tend to take simpler cases. We think you should go back to where you had your original transplant, which is Indiana. And so they basically said, yeah, we can't handle you. And so the centers that we're looking at right now are those that, like Indiana, have programs for both multivisceral transplant and for kidney transplant. And that way, if there are issues with either, she can have support through the hospital, and they wouldn't necessarily be that scared of having a multivisceral transplant recipient on their kidney transplant list as well. So anyways, a couple of the places that we're looking at right now are the MedStar Hospital in Georgetown, and Cleveland Clinic of Florida, Cleveland Clinic of Ohio, if the Cleveland Clinic of Florida doesn't work out right, Nebraska, and I think that's it for now. But we're hoping to not have to go through those if the living donor works out. So, but anyway, that's kind of an update on the kidney transplant front, which is probably not what most of you were tuning in for here with the shop projects. But I think I'm pretty much done with what I'm going to do, because I'm getting a little worn out and getting a little hot. I don't know if you can see all the sweat pouring through my shirt here. But I'd like to go back into some air conditioning and maybe some dinner, and see what we can do about celebrating the Independence Day. And now that we finally broke free from that tyrant King George. So, all right, if you have any other questions, get them in the chat right away. Otherwise, I'm going to be calling it a day here pretty quick. So make sure you subscribe, like, all the good stuff. And let's see, she is a toughie. That is true. Am I near tensed? I'm not sure what that means, Keegan. So if you want to give me some more detail on what you mean by near tensed. And hey, Norm, no problem. Thanks for joining us. Mayo in Minnesota does transplant. Yes. We actually were looking at Mayo, and they did not like our insurance coverage at the time, but we've changed our insurance coverage, so we might be able to reapply there. But we're not going to worry about it at the moment, as long as we can, if this living donor transplant goes through with Indiana, then we don't need to worry about adding more and more hospitals. So, and all of those programs all of those transplant centers that I was talking about for living donor kidney transplant, at least, they all have pretty similar results. And so we'd be comfortable going to any of them for for the transplant. But anyway, see if there anything else. All right, I think that's probably it for me. So I will sign off. Happy Independence Day, 4th of July, and see you next time. Take care.